Hey, what's going on everybody? Justin here at Trumful Reads, and in this video we're going to be doing a tag video, and this particular tag is the memory book tag. I was tagged by Katie at A Sea of Tomes, who is also the original creator for this tag. I'll leave her link down below, and you guys should definitely go subscribe to her channel. I've been following her channel for quite a while, and she's got really good content on there. Highly encourage you guys to check her channel out. And this one's going to be a little bit different in that I didn't really prepare my answers that much. I kind of wrote them down and I thought about them for like a minute or two and then kind of had some like vague ideas, I guess. But usually I get like all my books out and everything. So probably if I have the books, I'll like just be like kind of going around the library. So I might, go in and out because I'm going to try and do it also in one take. If that's possible, but we shall see. So let's just get started. Alright, question number 1, early years. What is the first book you can remember reading by yourself? I mean, I've been reading forever and ever and ever. I honestly have no idea, like, even in school age, like, I'm trying to think of, like, kindergarten stuff, books, like, we read. I can't think of, like, anything. I do know, like, the earliest thing I can think of, I know I must have been reading books probably before that was, the I Spy books. I remember pretty clearly, like, having a bunch of those. I had, like, the I Spy, like, the Halloween Haunted House one, and then I had, like, the silver one, which was, like, the Challenger version, or Super Edition, or Deluxe Edition, I don't know, something like that. I remember having, like, a stack of I Spy books, all the time, and always kind of just, like, going through them, even, after you find out the answers and everything. But I know that's not really like a ton of reading per se, but those are definitely the first books I can like vaguely remember actually doing on my own, I suppose. Alright, question number 2, school. Discuss a book you had to read for school that you have strong memories about. Well, there's quite a few that I have strong memories about, but most of them are not that great. I remember elementary school, let's see, Anne of Green Gables, not my favorite. Then I had to do like a book report on like The Secret Garden or something. That one wasn't fun either. There was a bunch of other, like some of the ones I did like were was like Hatchet by Gary Paulson and like Brian's Winter, that kind of like series. I do remember that in elementary school, and I actually, everyone kind of enjoyed that series. And I'm trying to think, even like in high school, there wasn't really any that I was like super excited about. I'll say the 2 that I guess I liked the most from high school was doing some sort of paper on Ivanhoe by Sir Walter Scott. That was pretty cool. And then I read the original book for Friday Night Lights, which is that it's the book that inspired the football movie and stuff. Those are like the 2 I remember vaguely that have at least like somewhat positive memories. But yeah, most of the books I read in school just it was just kind of like assigned reading. It just wasn't fun. 3, family. Talk about a book you remember reading with your parents. I know my parents read to me, like literally just like read to me. I'm trying to think. I can't really remember any books like we read together that I can at least or I was old enough to remember. Yeah, I don't have a title or an author or anything. I do remember reading, it wasn't like an I Spy book like I was talking about earlier, but it was kind of like a puzzle book, where like it was kind of like a story, but each, set of pages had like, this big image and you had to like do things on it, or like help people figure out different clues and things like that. I have absolutely no idea what it is, off the top of my head, but I do remember always, bringing that book out of a certain drawer to read. I do remember that, but like I said, I don't have a title or an author, and it's not even like, that's not even really like a book per se, but I guess I'm gonna go with that one. 4, midnight. Talk about a book you remember staying up late to finish. Okay, I do remember 2 books in particular where I had a lamp, obviously, like when I was like growing up, and I was a kid. I do remember vaguely some of the Harry Potter books. I did that with, like, in 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade, stuff like that. And also, when the first Lord of the Rings movie came out, I checked out The Hobbit from the school library, and I'm pretty sure I did the same thing where I planned on staying up all night and not having to go to sleep and just like read all through the night and stuff, but bringing in like sodas and candies and stuff like that. But yeah, those would be the two I would go with for that one, that I definitely for sure know that's what I did. Alright, number 5, holiday. Talk about a bookish memory from the holidays. Ew. Oh boys, I might have to splice in this one. I'm trying to think. Bookish on the holidays. Well, there is one book I do know I brought camping one time, because the only reason I remember this like random book from middle school was because like someone, like one of our family friends or something, yeah, it came up to me and was like, and told me, no, didn't anyone tell you you're not supposed to read while camping or something? And I vaguely remember that because I always thought, aren't you supposed to just do like lazy stuff like reading like while you're like vacationing and camping and everything? But anyways, the book is The Amulet of Samarkand, which I was reading in middle school, and that was who was that by? Jonathan Stroud. I don't know, it's kind of sad if I got that one right. I just like happen to remember that. I'm trying to think, talk about more books from the holidays. Yeah, and the vacation I guess really isn't even a holiday. I'm just trying to think. I didn't have any particular books I read like, over like Christmas vacations or Easter break or anything like that. Just trying to think. Bookish memory from the holidays. Yeah, I mean, I always got like books for presents and stuff, but yeah, I can't think of anything like super specific. I'll try to keep it like in the back of my mind while I do the other ones, I guess. Alright, so I guess I definitely messed that one up. I started going on like this like total complete random for number 6. I had to cut that out because I couldn't think of anything, and my my mouth just started like going and everything. But number 6, passion. Talk about a book that helped shape you. And I got 2 for that one. And the first one we'll go with right here. We have The Historian's Craft by Mark Bloch. I was given this book by my history advisor in college. I didn't start in history when I went to college or anything like that, so it's kind of interesting. Basically, I started off in education and biology, things like that, and then I switched like 3 or 4 times and ended up actually doing history, because I took a bunch of history classes with on certain topics that I found out that I just like really enjoyed. I took some philosophy classes and stuff, and I just decided, I really enjoy history. Before that, like in high school, in my first year and a half or so at college, I really didn't care about history or anything like that. So it was kind of interesting, kind of transforming, or maybe not transforming, but kind of changing my thoughts on things, I suppose, towards history. So I thought that was kind of cool. And like I said, my my college advisor gave me this book and several of her other history books and stuff. But The Historian's Craft by Mark Bloch. Mark Bloch was a French historian from the first half of the 1900s, and he's most famous for writing Feudal Society right here. It's like a landmark medieval history work right there. And anyways, he wrote this during World War II. He joined the French resistance and was captured by the Nazis. And he essentially wrote this book, I think, basically while being imprisoned there. And it's kind of just, it's for historians, like professional historians, amateur historians, as well as people just kind of interested in history, and just sort of like what history is kind of all about and how you kind of go about it and stuff. I don't know. It's just a really unique, really cool, awesome work. And he does, even though like in such like a dire situation, he does have some humor, from what he can, with this. Like I remember, I think I don't remember if it was like a footnote or just something in there. He like apologizes to the reader. He's like, in case I got some dates wrong and stuff, I don't have access to my other books or a library where I am in my current situation. He's literally like in a Nazi like prison somewhere. Unfortunately, they did execute him before the end of World War II, so he did die at the hands of the Nazis and stuff, ending his life. But like I said, it just almost makes this work even more powerful, I guess you could say. Just highly enjoy it, and just kind of, I don't know, it's almost just kind of like my little like handbook, I guess, for being like in history. I don't know. I don't even know what you call it, but that's what I would go for, a book that impacted me, for why I really enjoy history, things like that, if I could say that. And another work, I gotta go over here for a second, for like a work that actually has like, it impacts my daily decision making and stuff. We have the basic works of Aristotle. Aristotle's definitely probably my favorite philosopher. He's got like a ton of crazy stuff wrong. He's got tons of crazy notions and stuff. However, if you take like Aristotle, like his whole corpus and stuff, there really is good rationale for calling him the philosopher of common sense. I think it's just really apt and a good way to look at things. But his Nicomachean Ethics, like his essential, lecture notes on ethics, have definitely imprinted on me, I suppose. Or I think that's actually question number 10. I think that's probably why I said it imprinted on me. That's kind of weird. But the Nicomachean Ethics have definitely impacted the way I kind of like look at things. And his school of kind of ethical thought is now known as virtue ethics. And out of the three major ethical branches, I guess, at least in the West, there's utilitarianism, deontological ethics with like Immanuel Kant and stuff, and then like virtue ethics. And the virtue ethics are the ones that kind of I ascribe to in daily life. Basically making, it is super vague if I just say it like this, but like in a given situation, just making the decision that is the most virtuous for that person. So it's, like I said, it's kind of a cop-out in a way, just kind of, given that like kind of one sentence kind of overview, I guess, if that makes sense. But definitely that is like a ancient philosophical work that I've read, that I basically kind of have in the golden mean I have in the back of my head, basically all the time. So I'm gonna go with that one. I know that question I kind of got really rambly, so I'll just leave it at that for now. Question number 7, travel. Discuss a book you read or you read on vacation or a trip that, of course, I pretty much answered that with the holiday one, that brings up memories. There is another book, though, that I do remember reading on a vacation, and it's the first very short introduction that I read, right here. And it's Late Antiquity by Gillian Clark, I believe. Yep, Gillian Clark. And this is the first very short introduction book I read, and kind of started this collection going, basically. But also, Late Antiquity is now probably my favorite period in history to learn about. I just find it really interesting. If you guys don't know, Late Antiquity is basically, I'd say from the towards the end of basically the late Roman Empire, so roughly the 3rd century crisis, so around say like 300 CE to kind of through the early Middle Ages. So roughly, 300 to 1,000, or 400 to 1,000, or 400 to 800, something like that. Is kind of like Late Antiquity. And I don't know, it's a very interesting time period, because it's basically the fall of, civilization per se, with the Roman Empire, but it's really just kind of being transformed into a bunch of other like early proto-medieval kingdoms and stuff in some parts, but you still have part of the old civilization of Byzantium, and then you have like kind of the clash of Islam and Christianity in the West. You just got all kinds of stuff just kind of like going on at the same time. I don't know, I just find it like really interesting. Plus it's, the Dark Ages per se, basically just because we don't have quite as much source material during that time period as we do like before and after. So anyways, I find that time period just really really interesting, and I guess that's a book that was kind of important that I read. I remember reading specifically that one in a hotel room, just at night or whatever, because I didn't have anything better to do. So like I said, I specifically remember reading that one while on vacation. All right. Actually, on that one too, when I moved from Florida to Maine, like permanently, I was in middle school, and the second book in Christopher Paolini's like Inherited Cycle came out. Eldest had like either just come out or had been out just a little bit a while before, but I hadn't read it yet. And I do remember at the start of that trip, before we even finished like getting out of Florida, we just like stopped at a Walmart somewhere or whatever, or something like that. And my parents got me that book to read in the car while we were driving up to Maine. So I do remember that as well. All right, number 8. Hideaway. Discuss one of your favorite places to read. Probably one of my favorite places to... I read on the couch a lot. But probably my favorite place to read is during like the spring and summer and fall time, reading outside. Like I have a hammock that I really enjoy, basically just lounging in and like reading out in the sunshine. I just enjoy that quite a bit. Sometimes I just like lay in the grass too as well, like in the yard, if it's nice out. I don't know. I just really enjoy being outside, and then when you can be outside and reading at the same time, you know, it's just a plus. All right, number 9. Life changes. Name a book that helps you with a big life change. A big life change. Well, I guess what I'm going to go with that for this one is I have... Yes. When I first moved out to... Like the first time I went out living on my own, it was in the middle of college. It was after the time I switched to history and everything. And I don't know, I was just getting really, really into it. And kind of, the problem was, I was a commuter before, so I had like a couple friends and stuff, but it's just not the same as when like, you live at college and everything. But when I moved into the dorms and everything, I didn't really know anyone that was like a junior or senior or whatever. And it was kind of like awkward, obviously. And it was during the summertime, so there was hardly, I won't say hardly anyone, but there's a lot less people, you know, in the dorms during the summertime than there are, you know, during like regular spring and fall semesters and everything. So I didn't really know that many people, and I had like a lot of downtime on my hands because I wasn't working full time yet either. So I wasn't like really sure what I was supposed to be doing all the time. And I guess, with my love of history and stuff, I thought I had a great idea to write like a history of like the Roman Republic and stuff. And I remember vaguely having these two, basically old like Roman textbooks, plus a bunch of other books I brought with me to college. I remember vaguely just like helping me deal with not really doing anything. Instead of just like moping around and stuff, I was gonna basically I just ended up studying and just taking tons of notes on like the Roman Republic, and you know, writing like outlines for chapters and everything for like a history of the Roman Republic, stuff like that. And that definitely helped out until, you know, I actually got like a social life, and yeah, classes picked up like in the fall and everything, and I met people in it. So that definitely helped me through that point where now, instead of just, you know, basically doing absolutely nothing productive, I guess, if that makes sense. And let's see, number 10, Stone. Discuss 3 books or series that have imprinted on your soul and impacted you. All right, so let's see. There's this one's gonna be a little more difficult, isn't it? So let's go with. Well, I'm gonna go with the Aristotle, Nicomachean Ethics again. Obviously, because that's literally something I like kind of think about, like kind of on a day-to-day basis type thing, I guess, like with decision making. So that's definitely one. I'm trying to think. I don't think there's really any fantasy books that have really, you know, impacted my soul or anything. I'm just trying to think, make sure I don't forget. Oh, I definitely want to do this one. So that's 2. I'll talk about this in a second. I don't know if I have a third one off the top of my head. Do I have a third one off the top of my head? Well, I guess I'll talk about this one just for now, in case I can think of something while I'm, you know, rambling on about this one. But anyways, this one is a very odd book. It's my favorite. This is my favorite history book of all time, and it's just bear with me for like a second. Anyways, it's The First Punic War by J.F. Lazenby. And when I first picked it up and read it a couple of years ago, it was, I think, the only book dedicated to just the First Punic War in English. If you guys don't know, the Punic Wars were the major wars between Rome and Carthage. And the Second Punic War is kind of the one that gets like all the like attention and everything, because that's Hannibal's war, basically, Hannibal Barca. You know, so that kind of dominates pretty much everything. And then the Third Punic War is the destruction of Carthage. However, the First Punic War gets completely neglected, even though there's so many things with the First Punic War. It's probably the longest consistent ancient war in the sense the length of time. It was 23 years with no breaks in between. Like, for example, the Peloponnesian War was like 27 or 28 years, but there's, you know, technically there was a 10-year gap kind of in the middle. There was no gap at all in this one. Plus, it probably had the largest naval battle in history of all time, the Battle of Ecnomus. Even bigger than the biggest World War II battle in terms of human lives involved. The World War II battle is Battle of Leyte Gulf, and this Battle of Ecnomus was even greater than that. Like I said, in terms of manpower and stuff. But anyways, just really enjoyed this book. I just think it's like a gold standard work of history. Basically uncovering stones, like leaving no leaf unturned, but in a way that you're not going through every single like stick ever. That's probably not going through the sticks and like the mud and sticks on like every single topic. As you can see, it's a fairly normal sized book, but it covers pretty much everything in just enough detail to be good, and it's got like great notes, great bibliography, just everything about it. He just has really good analysis and great use of primary history. It's just pretty much everything like you aspire to like write for something like on ancient or classical history. So that's why I really enjoy it. Plus, before I started BookTube and stuff, I had a history website that I might try and like reincorporate into my kind of like book review website. And my first like successful attempt at doing stuff is I did basically a giant history of the First Punic War as well. And this obviously was like a book that I used pretty much every day that I was working on that stuff. So this is definitely a book that imprinted on me in a positive way. Just, you know, I don't know, just love it. And like I said, it's just a very odd selection. Not gonna lie, it's not gonna make a lot of sense to a lot of people, but definitely going with The First Punic War by J.F. Lazenby. And a third book? I don't know, I'm just trying to think of a third book. There's probably something that I'm just being really numb and not remembering, but I honestly couldn't tell you right off the top of my head. I'm trying to think. Well, I guess I'm just gonna go with those two for now, and then if I think of a really big, giant third book that I can't remember, or that I can't remember right now, I'll definitely bring it up in another video. So yeah, this video has probably dragged on and on and on, hasn't it? Probably has, yeah. So we're definitely gonna start wrapping things up, I suppose. And basically, I'm just gonna tag 3 people that I would like to see do this video, because I think they'd have some really cool answers in their responses to these questions. And I'm going to tag Jenna at BiblioFilth, Chris at Chris's Bookish Cauldron, and Julie at Hungry Bookworm. I really enjoy these 3 channels as well. I'll leave their links down below, and definitely go check them out, subscribe to them. I just really enjoy their content and the stuff that they put out, and I hope you guys do as well, and go subscribe to them. And there is my memory book tag. So like I said, I was tagged a couple months ago, finally got around to doing it. But yeah, those are my answers. Just leave some comments down below if you want to talk about pretty much anything I said, or if you have some answers you'd like to put in that you want me to see, anything like that. Definitely leave some comments down below. Be glad to check them out. And always remember, whatever you end up reading, read victoriously.